I'm Ann Boyer, Executive Vice President of the Industrial Heating Equipment Association, and we're here to tell you how IHEA members are making a difference. For the past 2 years, IHEA has been involved in the development of ISO standard TC244 for industrial furnaces and associated process heating equipment. The United States tag to TC244 is funded and managed by IHEA. Hear what our members have to say about the development of this important new standard and how it can impact your company.
As we're developing this new international standard, what is going to happen down the road? We have NFPA 86 now, and other countries, JIFMA, they have theirs. Europe has their EN standard. Are all those just going to stay the same? So why should we be involved with developing this international standard and having a say-so about it?
Sure, Bill. I think the thing to remember is that most of our member companies have a great deal of their business as international. And because of that, NFPA 86 is not going to be the only governing body when they're designing ovens and furnaces and supplying this equipment around the world. The other thing to remember is while Japan, US with NFPA 86, the EN standards in Europe, while they will not go away, there is a big part of the developing world where a lot of the economic activity is coming from, for instance, India and China, that today do not have a standard. And the thought is that rather than develop their own standard, they'll probably adopt ISO standards. Yeah. Therefore, what is done today in developing this ISO standard and why it is important for our members to be involved is because after this ISO standard is developed, there's a good chance that the world, especially that doesn't have a standard today, will use and adopt this ISO standard, and so that our member companies then will have to build equipment to those standards. It's also going to be very difficult to change those standards, Bill, once they're already implemented. The biggest voice we're going to have is during the upfront work in developing those standards.
TC244 is important to our members.
I think it's important for us to represent our industrial manufacturers for industrial heating and put the best team that we can possibly do to represent us. If we don't work as a team, all manufacturers, then we're allowing other people to make decisions for us.
And what do you think the consequences would be if we weren't involved?
I think we would have a European standard.
Great. Thank you. Mark, so can you tell us why you think it's important for IHEA to be involved in the development of the standard?
The United States in particular has always been a leader in safety. It's worldwide, and we're seeing that Europe is, and the emerging markets in China and the like are considering safety, and we want to have a word, our say in an international standard. We don't want people speaking for us without our input.
So if we weren't involved, what do you think the consequences would be for IHEA members and manufacturers in the U.S.?
There's all sorts of markets that we may be locked out of. Like I said, China, the emerging nations, who knows? The Eastern Bloc countries as they come into the European Union.
Great. Thank you, Mark. What would you say to help get those other people involved? What can we do to convince them?
Well, I think that somehow we're going to have to go to our members because, again, we've got a handful of member companies today that are doing the heavy lifting for everybody else. We need to go to our members and ask them for more support, and then somehow we need to get out to some of these other industrial combustion industries and talk to them about truly what's going to happen and that they are going to benefit from this work that we're doing right now. What people don't understand and don't realize is that when this becomes an international standard, that they're going to have to develop their heat processing equipment around that standard. And it's going to be costly for them. So anything that we can do today to get in front of those standards is going to benefit everybody in the United States that currently today produces heat processing equipment.
Great. Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.